Good people, it's your boy Uncle Fred back in the house, back in the saddle. One more again, content, ding, 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 free agency or legal tampering, as it's been called, is open and a lot of movement. I mean, those people, man, with money to spend, burning a hole in their pocket, couldn't wait to get to the ticket window. And surprisingly absent from all activities are the Dallas Cowboys. Go figure, right? Anyway, a lot of moving and shaking. Should we be alarmed? Should we be, you know, concerned? Or should we just relax? Just let this thing play out. How should we be as Cowboy fans? I'm gonna tell you how we should be. And in the end of the day, we're gonna ask the question: what the heck is we doing? Well, everybody, the whole world's doing what they're doing. We just sitting on our hands, and it's gonna have some very diabolical consequences. And we'll talk about what I think is gonna happen if we don't start doing something, because the word's starting to get out on some of that stuff. But we'll talk about that and a whole lot more here in just a little bit. Y'all sit back for a taste, and we're gonna talk about this opening day of free agency. Again, what's good, people? Uncle Fred here, back in the house. So, first of all, let's talk about some things here. So, free agency started, and of course, now a lot of the lot. See, here's the thing. Here's the thing. We're gonna talk. We're gonna try not to be long. I know I say that all the time, and end up being a 50-minute video. We're gonna try to keep this in about 15 minutes. All right, but let's just talk about it. The goal of this thing is to, if you're not a championship team, then you should put the pieces together, structures together, plan together in order to become a better team. So, say for instance, if you let's say you're the Chicago Bears and you go 3-13, you lost 10 straight games last year. Well, should you just sit by and just let them? No. I'm gonna tell you what the Bears did. The Bears fooled around and they had the first pick and they said, shoot, we need more than one player. We need several players. So we need to get involved. Now they had about $95 million in cap room too. Now, so because they got rid of Roquan Smith and some other players, Robert Quinn. They got rid of a lot of players. Ended up going to the Eagles. Roquan Smith went to the Ravens. So they got rid of a lot of salaries, dumped a lot of. So they had about $95 million in the first round, in the very first pick. So they had a lot of leverage. So they parlayed that pick to the Carolina Panthers and got several other picks. So and then turned that also and picked up DJ Moore, one of the guys we was talking about for the Cowboys is getting last year. One of them guys we kept moving, we kept talking about, flapping our gums about, but never nothing came of it. Yeah, that's becoming all too common. But anyway, they turned that into that, and then today they as soon as the window opened, boy, they had them tickets slid them tickets under the window, and they picked up TJ Edwards, linebacker from the Eagles. They picked up Tremaine Edmonds from the Buffalo Bills, linebacker from. So they solidifying their defense with some good veteran help. They also got guard Nate Davis, wrote one of the best pass defending guards in the NFL from the Titans. And they got DeMarcus Walker, defensive lineman. So they picked up a bunch of players. Okay. So there, and then of course that they're gonna have some picks in the draft as well. So they spent their money and they gonna use their draft picks. Remember what I said when my video on Friday, whenever that was. We had money And we end up getting some more money, and then we got 3 compensatory picks to go. So we end up having 9 picks in the draft. But if it looks like how it's looking today with the free agency, we just kind of got a lot of money, and we're just gonna sit on it. Somebody said in one of the chats of one of the shows I listen to, and where I listen to kind of figure out what's the news of the day as relates to the Cowboys. It said the Cowboys create cap space just to look at the cap space. I was like, wow, that's pretty good right there. Create cap space just to look at the cap space. Sort of like me at work, because I kind of get accused of accumulating all this paid time off. I got a bunch of paid time off hours. I'm like, oh, you gonna ever use it? I'm like, well, yeah, I'll have it when I need it, and I don't ever use it. So yeah, at some point, I guess I gotta take some days off and use that. So I'm actually accumulating PTO just to look at my balance. Oh, dang, I got a whole bunch of PTO. Yeah, it don't do you no good if you don't use it. So it's the same way with the Cowboys. Yeah, you getting all this cap space. What you gonna do with it? So we see all these teams. Cleveland Browns made some moves. They were, I think, 6-11 last year. Of course, they're getting Deshaun Watson back for a full season, a full off season training camp. They ended up getting a guy that has been talked around in the Cowboy circles. But in order to get one of them guys, you kind of gotta get the thing done. You know what I'm saying? Can't wait on it. But Davlin Tomlinson is a lot of shows I've listened to say, yeah, Davlin Tomlinson is a guy we had looked to a lot as a guy that we could plug in our defensive tackle. Well, no, Davlin Thompson went to the Cleveland Browns, 4 years, $57 million, $27 million of a guarantee, which comes out to $14.25 a year. No, we weren't going to pay him like more than we paid DeMarcus Lawrence or any of them guys. So no, that he ended up going higher than what we thought. But then of course the Commanders, we talked about also Deron Payne, another Alabama dude. Davlin Thompson's an Alabama guy too. But they talked about Deron Payne, because he'd been sort of disillusioned with the Washington Commanders. Well, Washington Commanders during the combine put the franchise tag on him, which was like $19 million or something like that, 18, 19, something like that. But they didn't sit on the tag like we probably gonna do with Tony Pollard. They did that to hold that in place until they got a deal. Well, they got a deal. He signed a 4-year, $90 million deal, which is about $23-24 million a year. Yeah, we wasn't gonna do that. We wasn't gonna do that. Good and well, Jerry wasn't gonna pay that kind of money for nobody else. Even though Deron Payne had 11 sacks in the defensive tackle position, and man, and I guess we wouldn't get Bobby Wagner, wouldn't get none of these other guys, but you'd have him, and with him, you'd have to like double team, do all this sort of stuff. You couldn't concentrate on Micah because this dude would get 10 sacks. And what you gonna do with Dorrance Armstrong? What you gonna do with DeMarcus Lawrence? What you gonna do with Micah? So you're gonna pay for it. But if you was gonna get him, you'd have to just get him and maybe get a receiver, and that'd be your whole free agency. That'd be you spend your wad on like 2 things. But they didn't, and the Cleveland Browns did. So Cleveland Browns got that. Then they got Degbonia Okoronkwo from the Houston Texans as a linebacker. They got him, and so they did some stuff too. Some other big news, Jimmy G gets signed to the Raiders, which we'll see how that is. I think it was 2 years, $67 million, with $34 million of that guaranteed. So a lot of people jumping up and down about that. I don't know if that's a good thing or not because, I like Jimmy G, but I know he's consistent and he don't stay healthy long. And of course, now I don't know how much better. Oh, he never had these kind of weapons. He's got weapons. I'm like, yeah, but Derek Carr was there too, who I think Derek Carr's a better quarterback than him since the signing by the Saints, signed him for a 4-year, $100 million contract. So yeah, obviously he's a better quarterback, and he couldn't get it done. I think it goes back to the coaching because I think Josh McDaniels may not be all that he cracked up to be, but they got Jimmy G, whatnot. So we'll see what goes on there. They lost some players too, because now. We'll talk about this too. Now, the 49ers lost some players because they lose Jimmy Ward to the Texans. Texans also pick up Robert Woods. That's a guy I thought we might low key could have picked up in the clearance rack bin because Robert Woods is a cap casualty of the Tennessee Titans. Titans losing everybody, man. Lost their left tackle because I think he lost. I think he's going to retire or what have you. Taylor Lewan, and of course they lost Robert Woods, lost Nate Davis. Heard they trying to shop Derrick Henry. The heck is going on in Tennessee, man? But anyhow, but the Texans signed Robert Woods. Robert Woods is a guy I thought we might get. Is a like say for instance we get him because I think he ended up going. I saw here like 2 years and like 15 million, which is like 7 million a year. Which is not a whole lot of money. And I think you might could have got out of that contract after a year, which I think. Here's the thing: I think Robert Woods is a good route runner. I think he's tough. I think he make contested catches. I think he'd make a good number three receiver. Go along with C.D. Lamb and Michael Gallup. And he's a great blocker at the wide receiver position and runs tight, crisp routes. Only thing is he's 30, 31 years old and he's coming off an ACL tear from 2021. Remember, he got that ACL in a non-contact practice drill the same day that Odell Beckham came to the Rams. And I always thought that was kind of sinister, but whatever, man. It's what it is, man. It's what it is. So a lot of these teams are making moves, man. Now, a move that I thought was kind of interesting. I heard the Atlanta Falcons who got Jesse Bates, I believe. Um, was it Von Bell? They got one of the two safeties from the Bengals. The Bengals lost both of them because one of them went to the Falcons, and I think one of them went to the Bills, maybe. I have to look that up, but they lost both of them. But the Falcons also got Jonnu Smith, tight end Jonnu Smith. What brings to thinking, they got getting Jonnu Smith. Why would they get Jonnu Smith when you got Kyle Pitts? And so the word on the street is the Falcons are not exactly, they don't really know how to utilize Kyle Pitts. And remember back in 2021, Jerry Jones was fond and intrigued by him like he was with C.J. Stroud. A guy normally we couldn't get, because he went like number 4 in the draft, and we was like number I think 20 in the draft last year, whatever, something like that, 21. So, but yeah, so if you thought they was disgruntled, why would not the Cowboys be making a phone call to Atlanta and say, hey man, what would it take to get this Kyle Pitts off your hands? Would it take a number 1 or a number 2, 2 number 2s? Now I'm gonna be honest with you. Unless you're a generational player, I'm not giving up a number 1 draft pick for it. I wouldn't have got given a number 1 for Amari Cooper. They just did that because the Cowboys seem to get took in all the drafts the trades we do. We always get took. Then we trade him to the Cleveland Browns, only get a 5th round pick, But it's what it is. But no, unless you're a generational player, I'm not giving a 1st round pick for you. So no, Kyle Pitts has got talent. He's got 1st round talent. He's got generational talent, but he's not performed at that level yet. I think he may have also ran at a Pro Bowl, which everybody can go to the Pro Bowl because people lay out, so they pick alternates and stuff. But I know he's talented. But you thought he was all that, man. Why don't you have somebody calling the Falcons? Hey, man, we'll give you a number 2 and a number 3 this year, and maybe or a number 2 and a number 2 for next year for Kyle Pitts, and see if we can get that done. But they never did that because they don't ever do anything. So, but anyway, so those are some of the things that got done. And another signing, another guy and sometimes I think these players use the Cowboys to get their deal signed. Because we talked about, the free agency also ended up with yesterday with Jalen Ramsey signing getting traded from the Rams, because we know the Rams having a fire sale. Word has it Matt Stafford could be had too. So, but yeah, Jalen Ramsey. We know that released Bobby Wagner, which but Jalen Ramsey, which we've been talking about too, but they only got a third round pick from him, and he went to the Dolphins. So now, Cowboy fans, now I know we being my man RD, who I'm gonna get on to talk some draft stuff in the coming weeks. So look forward to that. My man RD, good man, knows his football. But um, they only got a third round pick, so the Dolphins are gonna trot out Jalen Ramsey and what's my man's name? Howard at corners, and then you got Bradley Chubb at linebacker. So you got, and then of course now you got what you got on offense. So the defense was kind of slacking late in the season, so they're getting more defense. Now you got lockdown corners with Vic Fangio as your defensive coordinator. Their defense fixing to be stupid. All right. So, so yeah, they get Jalen Ramsey and for a third round pick. And I'm like, dang, we wouldn't have given the third round pick and got him and have him matched up next to next to Diggs. Now the thing is, now I'm upset about that because I think we could have done that, right? But nobody called, nobody inquired. The thing, I think that Jalen Ramsey, as soon as he get to the Dolphins, and I'm gonna tell you the reactions to that too. The Dolphins, when he gets to the Dolphins, I'm thinking Jalen Ramsey is going to ask for a new contract because he's only scheduled to make, I think, 17 and then 14 the next two seasons. I'm telling you right now, I think he's only 28. He's going to ask for it. Let's scrap that contract. Let's go for a new contract. And maybe Jerry and Steven was looking at hey, man, we already know we're going to have to pay Trayvon, 15, 18, $19 million a year. Do we really want two $15, $17 million corners at the same time? So I kind of see what they were saying. Maybe we could get somebody a little bit more economical. That brings me to my next one. My next thing that sort of got me, Patrick Peterson, another guy that's been linked to us. Because when they asked Patrick Peterson, I think Sheffley was talking to him. Adam Scheffler, I think that's his name. He was talking to him, and he asked some of the teams he thought his skill set would match up with. And of course, he said Cincinnati Bengals. And there was a couple other teams. And then he said, "Oh yeah, the Cowboys. I've always been a Cowboy fan. So yeah, man, I kind of would love to because I've always been a Cowboy fan. I think I'd fit right in there. And I think he would. Veteran corner. I think he could put him at that cornerback 2 position, what has been an Achilles heel for us for the last year. I got tired of seeing Anthony Brown give up 50-yard bombs, every week, So we tried all these guys, Trayvon Mullins and Mackenzie Alexander. What's the dude from Minnesota? I think his name. But we tried everybody. So we knew going into this year we got to get a CB2 either from the draft or either through free agency. So I thought Pat Pete might be a good guy to get. Okay, but nope, because the Steelers lost Cam Sutton to the Detroit Lions. So now Detroit Lions gonna have Cam Sutton and what's the kid's name from Ohio State? Jeff Okudah. So they got some stalemates at corner. So now the Steelers moved in, and let me tell you what he signed for. He signed a 2-year, $14 million contract with the $7 million per year. Only $5.85 million of it was guaranteed. You don't think we could have used Patrick Peterson if we wasn't going to get Jalen Ramsey? You don't want to pay high. You could have got that guy, moved him in at cornerback 2. And I think he could still play it just under a Pro Bowl level. It's these kind of things that you're talking about, man. It's moves, and you got all this money that you made. You made these guys. You made Dak Prescott. He didn't take any less money. They just moved it from salary to bonus. Zach Martin. And in the day, we find out, too, that they went and tapped on Michael Gallup's shoulder and reworked his deal. And now they got about $7.5 million from him. So let's get this. So from Zach and Dak, They got about 22 million, and then they got 7 from that. That's 29 million, which they were 7 million under over the cap. So that puts them about $22 million free and clear under the cap. We know the cap's $224 million, so that puts us around that. And I'm hearing that they're gonna do something with Tyron Smith too, because Tyron Smith salary is 13 million, but his cap hit is like 17, so they're kind of working with him. But the thing is, we lose from free agency Connor McGovern. Soon as the free agency window opened, now you thought that they was trying to sign their own guys back, right? I mean, Donovan Wilson, Jonathan Hankins, Vander Esch, all these dudes, and Anthony Barr, which I don't think they're gonna resign him, but Anthony Brown, and which he and Jordan Lewis are both coming off injuries. I don't think they're gonna be signed back and everything, but there's a lot of guys that are on Luke Gifford, a bunch of dudes, that it's been said, oh yeah, we're gonna work on our guys, and that Connor McGovern plays guard, and he kind of plays swing, does some things, and you just let him walk, and he signed with the Buffalo Bills for a 3-year, $23 million contract, which is 6-7 million. Of course, now he's like your fourth best offensive lineman. And of course, you get your money, kid. Ain't nobody mad. Get your money. It's like Connor Williams got his money last year and whatnot. Well, we'll get a compensatory pick for him next year. Okay. But you ain't even get to the window to try to negotiate with your guys. Now you've been talking about, oh yeah, we talking to Donovan Wilson, and word comes out they ain't said nothing to Donovan Wilson, and they made an offer to Dalton Schultz, which I was hoping they didn't, because let that dude walk for 13 million. We not paying 13 million. But it comes out that they ain't talked to Dalton Schultz either. So it's like, so you got this money, you made these guys rework their deals. You got this free fall of money. You got all these extra picks, and you didn't do anything with them. But then the word get dropped today that but talk was heating back up with Bobby Wagner. Now, I listen to Mike Fisher a lot. Because he talks to those guys. And of course I listen to a lot of people who are in the Cowboys genre, whether it be him, whether it be Vosh Lombardi, whether it be Law Nation, whether it be Cowboy Fan Talk. We're all in this Cowboy community. They're big time dudes. Mark Holmes, all those dudes. But Mike Fisher is actually writes for CowboySI.com, and he actually talks to the Joneses and stuff like that. And he was letting them have it today, man. He was like, what? It don't make no sense to have all this money in your pocket and don't do nothing with it. That's what led somebody to say they just create this cap room just to look at the cap room that they created and not do nothing with it. And see, and what I would like, we're gonna talk to, we're gonna get to this right here, this other topics or whatever. But he's like, we've got a way that we do things. We do more draft and develop. That's our thing. Cowboys draft and develop. And I don't think no team really can hold a candle to us drafting. We've very seldom missed too much on a draft pick. I think Jalen Tolbert might be the only thing we missed out on that. We hit on Tyler Smith. We hit on Sam Williams. We hit on Israel McQuamu. We hit on Deron Bell. We hit on him. He didn't play much, but he's an undrafted free agent. We hit on Deron Bland. We hit on all them guys. We missed on Ridgeway, but I think Ridgeway gonna hit big with the Commanders. I think we might have gave up on him on a one technique inside guy, but whatever. But we can draft with the best of them. Okay, but that can't be the only way you build your roster. Okay. Because most times it takes guys a couple of years to get to their peaks where they can contribute. Every pick not gonna be Michael Parsons, all right? Every pick not gonna be Trayvon Diggs, all right? who really wasn't that great his first year. His second year, he got 11 interceptions. I think he got 4 last year, whatever, because guys didn't throw at him. But every draft pick is not going to take off like that. Sometimes it takes time to do that. And so what you going to do until those guys pick up? See, that's why you supplement that with trades and free agent signings. Now, I'm not saying you go spend all your money. You go get Davin and Tomlinson, or you go get Deron Payne and spend $100 million or $90 million. I'm not saying that. But, I mean, you set out a plan. I don't think they've called any of these guys. What are you doing? And so I put this graphic up right here. And it says here, what are we doing? Because it almost seems as though because what the teams are doing now, that they, because I'm gonna tell you this like this. You got the Rams with God, I can't think of his name right now. It'll come to me in a minute. Keith. Golly, he said F them picks. You got Chris Light. You got Howie Roseman. You got John Lynch for the 49ers. Howie Roseman with the Eagles. Chris Light of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And God, I can't think of the Rams guy's name. Y'all probably could know it when y'all hear it, but they have adopted a way. It's like, hey man, we're gonna go free agency. We're gonna draft as well as we can. A lot of teams don't do that well at drafting, not as well as we do. But then they go get free agents like the Eagles did last year. They went and got AJ Brown. They went and got Hassan Reddick. They went and got Jay Gardner Johnson. They went and got Darius Slay. They went and got James Bradbury. And then during the middle of the season, they went and got Robert Quinn from the Bears. And they went and got Ndamukong Suh, who's, so they went and got guys. Okay. We got Dante Hightower, Anthony Barr for like $1 million a year. We re-signed Dorrance Armstrong and gave an extension to Jaron Curse. And then in the middle of the season, we got Jonathan Hankins. I mean, fine. Now, Jonathan Hankins is a guy we need to go ahead and sign back. That's one of the guys. But but these other teams, teams that we're competing against to get to the Super Bowl, teams that are in front of us, like the Eagles and the 49ers, they're ahead of us. Now the Eagles gonna have some quandaries on their hands because hey, they shot, and they got to a Super Bowl, and it was a fumble away from winning the thing. If Jalen Hurts don't fumble, they win the ball, right? And you can't tell them nothing. But they made their moves, right? And they've been to 2 Super Bowls in 5 years, right? You can't mess with that, right? The slow and steady move has kept us, 10, 11, 12 wins a season, but we don't get nowhere because once you get to the playoffs, the stuff that you do in the regular season, the offensive sets that you run in the regular season, that's why Kellen Moore is no longer here. And some of the other things you don't work in the playoffs because, number one, you're playing against the top 4, 2 or 3 teams in your conference. You're not playing Carolina. You're not playing Indianapolis. You're not playing Chicago. You're not playing any of those teams. You playing, like when we played the 49ers, we was playing D'Amico Ryans, one of the best defensive minds in the game, one of the smartest defensive play callers in the league, and the number 1 defense in the league. You can't go into that defense with Noah Brown as your number 2 receiver, and you didn't make no moves and get nobody. You got James Washington for $1 million after losing Amari Cooper. You can't do that. That's organizational malfeasance. But we still won 12 games. And a lot of people are like, well, if you're good enough to win 12 games, you're good enough. You had the number 1 offense, number 2, number 3 offense in the league the last 6, 7 weeks of the season. Yeah, but you're playing regular season games. Teams sometimes with not good defenses. When you play it in the playoffs, you playing against the best of the best and the better defensive minds. Remember, you played the Bears with a first-year coach. You played the Carolina Panthers with Jerry coaching, right? And some of these other teams we hung big numbers up on. The Minnesota Vikings, which didn't have a good defense, but had a good offense. We stopped the offense, but we scored 40 points on that defense. And, we scored some points on them, and that skewed our numbers, right? Then you get against the 49ers and we weren't able to move the ball. Then you got Tony Pollard, one of our two explosive people that we got on our offense, go down. So what I'm trying to say is the other teams understand that, hey, we got to go for it and get some players. And we're like, nah, we're just going to go with what we got. And going for what we got gets us 9, 10, 11 wins and don't get us no further. And what it does, it creates a facade to the fan base thinking, yeah, man, we're always. And then the small-minded individuals always start blaming the players. Like I hear so much Dak Prescott hate. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying Dak Prescott played well. Like I said, he played, he threw 2 interceptions in that game, and it been different. It was like, hey, he's trying to force something between something. We was down, and he had to, but the game was tied when he did that, and he forced one and got it picked, and game was with no score, and he got one picked. There was no need for them, so he didn't play well. So I can't let him off the hook for that. But what I'm trying to say is, you were asking a whole lot to ask Dak Prescott to go up against that defense with just CeeDee Lamb and Noah Brown, and then Tony Pollard, who got hurt, midway through the second quarter. It didn't, he could. And then basically they could bracket CeeDee Lamb, and then who you gonna go to? All right. And then you're like, well, Dak Prescott got to go. Dak Prescott got to go. And I'm gonna tell you what that's like. That's like you going to the drive-thru at one of these restaurants. Let's say you go to Popeyes if you like chicken, whatever. And you go to the window, you order your stuff, and you're like, hey, well, we out of chicken, which is kind of stupid. Hot chicken place be out of chicken. But, I'm just saying. They're out of chicken. You guys blaming Dak Prescott for this. It's almost like you going off on this 18-year-old girl that's taking the order. Like it's her fault that her manager didn't order right or the truck was late and they didn't have no chicken. That sounds like a management issue, right? And only, stupid people blame that girl or go off on that girl. But I understand why people do it, because that's who you see. You see her. You don't see the general manager who was lazy and missed or didn't anticipate that there was going to be a game that week in town, and that the college game that was in there, the players would come and flood the place and you run out of chicken. He didn't anticipate that. That's a management issue. But you blaming the girl at the counter who's 18 years old and don't, just working, at night and going to school in the day. You blaming her. And you blaming Dak Prescott. And obviously every year the team don't do as much as it should do to go all the way. And that should be evident. And what I would hope that I try to educate you Cowboy fans that stop blaming Dak. Stop blaming sometimes stop blaming the coaches. Because Jerry's not going to hire a Kyle Shanahan. He could have hired Kyle Shanahan in 2017. Because I would have fired Jason Garrett after we didn't make the playoffs after the 2016 season. And we went 9-7. I would have fired him then. Because Kyle Shanahan was coming off of a Super Bowl where he went to, and he's a supreme play caller. But Kyle Shanahan is not going to go for some of Jerry's shenanigans. He's like, no, I run my program. And I don't want you interfering in my program. I know who I want to draft. I know what kind of players I want to draft. And I know what kind of program I want to run, right? I don't need you trying to tell me leaking stuff in the media, stuff you want to have. No. Let me do my thing. But he wants coaches that he can manipulate, that he can run his little circus sideshow with, and they just be, okay, just let him do his thing. Not understanding that makes your coaching job harder to do. That's why they was never going to get Sean Payton. Sean Payton going to run his own program. Remember when they were asking him about Russ and, having his own personal coaches and masseuses and all this stuff? They thought, no, we ain't doing that. We ain't getting no office. That's getting shut down. None of this sideshow stuff. I'm running my program. That's why you weren't never getting Sean Payton, because he wasn't going for that foolishness, right? But it's the dog and pony show, right? So what are we doing? All right. Now, I'm going to tell you something else. This is a rumor too. I don't know if I didn't see this in ink, but I got some word on this. Now, teams like the 49ers are ahead of us, right? Now, I know they lost Jimmy Ward, that cornerback, Eagles, right? I mean, not to the Eagles, but to the Texans. But do you know they signed Javon Hargrave from the Eagles? Yeah. So they were already like in the NFC Championship game, and if Brock Purdy don't get hurt on his first throw, got hit by Hassan Reddick, I think they probably win that game because I just don't see the Eagles scoring on that defense like that. But when you can't throw and it's three and out, 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 eventually your defense gets worn down, right? And they get Javon Hargrave. They could have rested on their laurels. We got to an NFC Championship game. We got Brock Purdy coming back. We got Christian McCaffrey. We got Debo and Ayuk and George Kittle. We got a bunch of guys coming back. Williams, the best left tackle. We good. Let's get our quarterback healthy. We good. And then the rookie guy that, if he gets help, we're good. We just need to stay the course, right? That's what we would have done. But no, they go get Javon Hargrave because they're trying to get better because they want to get over the hump. They want to get to the Super Bowl. We finished third in the NFC and we ain't doing a daggum thing. I'm telling you, man, what the Cowboys are doing is almost like, and it's almost like they are glued to doing things the old-fashioned way. Soon as the salary cap become a thing, and then you start free agency and salary cap in the late '90s, it's like the Cowboys lost their edge on that. It's almost like they have to do too much complicated stuff to get deals done. Cowboys have like, since this has happened, the Cowboys have outlaid one of the least amounts of money of any of the teams in terms of like signing big time contracts. Like when some of these guys sign these big contracts, they get like 50 something odd million of that money guaranteed. That means they got to write like a $50 million check to get that started. Cowboys, I think the Falcons, the Cowboys, I think the Bengals, there's a couple other teams which are not known for spending money, but the Cowboys are worth $8-9 billion, and they're not cash poor like say Mike Davis is for the Raiders. Mark Davis. I'm sorry, not Mike. Mark. They're cash poor operations, right? So they can't just go out and throw money around and get stupid in the free agent market because you got to write that big check, and that's going to upset your cash flow. Cowboys ain't got no problems like that. They just want to do things a certain way. But I liken it to like a store. Like say you go to Walmart and just say Walmart's like, nah, we not gonna have none of these automated checkouts. We're gonna do everything by hand, everything by human, which is fine, because I prefer the human, because you get to talk to a person, and if something's wrong, you ask them whatever. You can't ask that machine nothing, right? But the thing is, the other stores are using the automated checkers. They're getting their customers in and out a whole lot quicker than you are, and you're losing your marketplace because they're getting their customers in and out when you getting a stock pile, a pile up at the checkout because the automated checkers are quicker than the humans, right? They are, right? So instead of like going to the automated method, you're like, no, we're gonna do it this way, we're gonna do it this way, or we're gonna do computers, we're gonna do it by adding machine. No, man, that's why you lose out. The other teams have figured out we implement our draft strategy with implementing some free agents, a trade here and there. We put together good teams. Now, they may not stay good as long as ours do, but you think the Rams are hurting now because they won a Super Bowl. They've been to 2 Super Bowls in 4 years and won one of them. All right? Yeah, they had to break the thing down and miss the playoffs a couple times. They built it right back. That's fine. And doing it the way we've done it, we've missed the playoffs a couple of years. We've missed the playoffs in 2017, 2019, 2020. All right? So, so here's what I think the Cowboys is doing. Mike Fisher said it too. He said, man, I think the Cowboys are just leaking things out there just to get the fan base stirred up, and they're not doing anything. Now, I have to caution this because, I try to be not this impulsive, like some of the younger Cowboy fans are, because I've been at this thing 50 years. I tend to think like, now let's be patient. Let's just wait this thing come out. And maybe they will sign Bobby Wagner. Maybe it's like, look, we ain't gonna sign like 2 free agents. We're gonna probably sign Bobby Wagner, sign like a couple of our guys back. They need to sign Van Der Esch back. Maybe get him for like 3. He played so well last year for $2 million. Come back for like 4 and fix it where it fits nicely in the cap. And get me Bobby Wagner. You need to keep Jonathan Hankins too, because you need that big boy in the middle. Okay, I heard about Michael Brockers too from the Lions. I've heard that he might be one of the guys that might be available too. He used to play for the Rams. But and get look, I'm gonna even say this. Y'all know I'm not an Odell Beckham guy, right? I'm not. Everybody knows I'm not. I'm not an Odell Beckham guy. But as opposed to like getting nothing, yeah, go get me Odell Beckham, because he's better than Noah Brown. And right now, he's better than Michael Gallup. We didn't send anybody to the workout, which I heard was only like a 6-second thing, 12-second thing, caught a couple of passes, whatever. I don't know. But I mean, even though I'm not his biggest fan, because I think he's more sizzle than steak, kind of like the Cowboys is more sizzle, sort of like they got you at the counter because they got the steak on the skillet and got simmering and it smells so good and everybody's buying, and they get to the thing, sit down at the table, ready for their steak, and they say, "Oh well, y'all going home." Wait a minute, where my steak at? No, you just paying for the sizzle, for that good smell that you got. Wasn't that good? Wasn't that worth the squeeze? And that's what they're doing to us. They're giving us that. They shaking all that sizzle. That sizzle's on that grill, boy. It be smelling good. Oh, we working on something big. We ain't working on nothing. Oh yeah, we got Bobby Wagner on speed dial. Oh yeah, man, I'm intrigued by Kyle Pitts. He ain't made no phone calls. Oh yeah, Pat Pete. Call Pat Pete. Even though I thought he'd have been a good fit for us, we wouldn't even have to draft him. We could draft we wouldn't have to draft a cornerback in the first or second round if we went ahead and got Pat Pete, and you could have saved that for a later round or something like that, But man, I just think we just not. I'm gonna pump the brakes though and say, hey, let's hold on. Maybe they are working on something. Maybe they are working on Michael. DeAndre Hopkins. Maybe they are working on that. Maybe they are looking at getting a DJ Chark. Maybe they are working on getting a Brandon Cooks. Although I think Brandon Cooks might stay in Houston with all the stuff D'Amico Ryans is doing. They got. They ended up getting getting Robert Woods. They end up and they got Brandon Cooks, and then they get Robert Mechie back, who's never played. End up getting sort of a form of leukemia from Alabama. So he comes back, and they got Damian Pierce, and they're getting all these guys in free agency. They starting something there, man. Got Jimmy Ward. So D'Amico Ryans is building something there with all this positive stuff on. Maybe Brandon Cooks don't want to leave there now. Maybe we missed our chance to get him. It always seemed like we're a day late and a dollar short, right? But you know what? I'm gonna say this. Hold on, though. Just hold on, because there's more days to come, and it ain't really how you start. It's how you finish. But if I'm to grade this thing according to what I've been seeing all other times, I think they're building us up just to let us down and then say something stupid like, man, you can't build no team with as much money as Dak Prescott making. And like I said, Mickey Loomis would say, man, I don't know what the heck you're talking about. We was $50 million over the cap. And we had to let go of Marcus Davenport. He signed with the Vikings. And they may have to rework or let go of Alvin Kamara. He got legal issues coming up, big time. He may have to do some jail time. And I'm sure they ain't gonna let go of Cam Jordan, But Marcus Lattimore might have to be gotten, let go of, So I mean, they may have to do some things, but they got their quarterback, at 150 million, 75 of it guaranteed, and they was over the cap. So they was in the worst shape of us, but you didn't hear them saying a dadgum thing about what you can't do. See, that stuff just stirs up the low IQ fan base, into thinking like, well, that's what Dak Prescott, he's making way too much money. And I'm like, dude, you do realize first 4 years, Dak Prescott made $2.8 million in 4 years. Made 500,000, 500,000, 700,000, and like a million in the first 4 years. And then he got his money. And he had taken us to the playoffs twice while he making $500,000. Okay. So, come on, and won a playoff game while he playing us, while he paying him $500,000. You know how many Dak jerseys we sold, especially after that 13-3? You know how many Dak jerseys we sold, and he making $500,000? Come on, guys, stop being low hanging. Y'all gotta be better than that. Be better. Be better. And if you're gonna listen to my channel, I'm gonna insist that you be smarter. But I digress. But anyway, what I think they do, they leak stuff out to get us all agitated, and then they don't do nothing. We're working on something big. And then say, that gummit, we just missed out. Just like at the trade deadline. Oh, we gonna get Brandon Cooks. He on there, and didn't start in enough time, and then ran out of time because you didn't realize that you had to get the money situation because he's owed $18 million, $19 million, and the Texans wasn't gonna pick up all of that. So they had to work out that who was gonna pay how much of his deal, right? And it ran out of time. So we ended up not getting nobody. We get T.Y. Hilton, but we could have got T.Y. Hilton like at the beginning of the season because he was free. And he would have had time to work with our offense. It wasn't but for $1 million. We could have got him. Just don't do the stuff. And I just don't see why y'all don't see that, man. I always put blame on But anyway, that's all I got, man. But that's it. I'm going to be back and forth throughout some of the week as the free agency thing unfolds. But I just wanted to let you guys know some of the free agent moves that went on and all this stuff went on. And let me show you what the Cowboys did because I even pulled it up. Cowboys free agent moves. And I told you about the moves that the other teams made. Here's the Cowboys free agent moves. Here it is right here. Cowboys free agent rumors. See here. Seeing what did I do with it? Yeah. Here it is. Cowboys free agent rumors. Number one, Cowboys are working hard to bring back defensive end Dante Fowler. That's the top thing they're doing. Which, as an edge rusher, we need him. We need him back. Ain't gonna pay him for like $2 million a year. It ain't like that's a big time thing. Dallas has contacted Bobby Wagner about adding him, but a decision is not imminent. Meaning they done called, but they ain't did nothing. Right? Talks are ongoing with Donovan Wilson, and the Cowboys are still working on Leighton Vander Esch. And Cowboys restructured Malcolm Gallup's contract and generated $7 million more in salary cap space. And that's it. Now, the problem we're going to have, and I'm going to close with this. When Jalen Ramsey signed with the Miami Dolphins for a third-round pick, Micah Parsons tweeted, WTF. Like, what the heck is we doing? Because he signed for a third round and we didn't do nothing. Because, see, Micah Parsons has been campaigning. He didn't talk to some of that stuff he was doing that he should have been doing. Some of them dudes is on the contract. And that is tampering, and they kind of winked at him. But he was talking to Darius Slay. Maybe we might get him, but I think he wants big money. He was talking to Calais Campbell. He was talking to a whole bunch of guys, man, different guys and stuff. Let's see what Jerry and Steven gonna fool around and do, man. They're gonna fool around, and when Micah's contract come around, Micah Parsons might be disillusioned and might not sign back with the Cowboys. Y'all look at me crazy when I say that. But today's kids ain't loyal. Like, they're not like how Dak is. Dak's like, I'm going to be a Cowboy. I'm going to be a Cowboy. He see the foolishness. He said, I'm a Cowboy. I grew up a Cowboy. I'm a Cowboy. Zeke want to be. They try to, no, I want to be a Cowboy. But you got your Trayvon Diggs. These are another generation of players. They like 8, 9 years younger than these guys, right? He's like, hey, man, get my brother over here because we need receiver help. Even though Stephon Diggs is, we'd have to give up 2 first-round picks to get him because, we're not getting him. We have to give him a first round, and we'll have to pay him in 8, 20, 21 million. No, we're not doing that. Right. But these guys want the team better, and they know we need other players to come with us to make us better. And they see the Cowboys continue to like, we ain't gonna do that. We ain't gonna do that. We ain't gonna do that. Michael Parsons is starting to see, and he went on a limb for OBJ, even though I'm not an OBJ fan. And when OBJ says, "Hey man, come on in. You want to come on?" Because he's like, "Come on, we know we're close." He wants to win so bad. But he knows that the Cowboys, he's starting to see that the Cowboys really ain't as interested in winning as they are being relevant, as much as they are to be talked about, as buzz being created, as sizzle being created. They're not as interested in winning the whole thing as much as they are getting a fervor. Because the thing I think they dread the most is, say we go all in and get a couple of free agents. We spend 27's money in 23, or 26's money in 23, and 25, 26 and 27 come, and we have to get rid of those players, and we have to rely on some of our draft picks, and we might go 5 and 12. That's what they dread. And then we'll be, remember the year we missed the playoffs in 2020, and the team and the network start flexing the games that we was on off. Jerry lost his freaking mind. Not because we was losing games, but man, ain't nobody gonna see my team. I'm telling you, they care more about people seeing you and people talking about them than they do about putting a good, excellent product on the field. And I'm telling you, today's players are not going to put up with that foolishness. And they keep going on with this rate, and you're not going to get, and let's not make no mistake about it. Michael Parsons is a generational player. You might have 15 drafts and never get a guy as good as Michael Parsons. And you fool around and get that guy where he's out on you. I'm just saying. These are the things, but the Joneses need to get that shit. I'm telling you, man. They can't get them 2 dudes out often. I have a feeling if Charlotte Jones takes over the thing after, they, whatever happened to them, I think she'll hire somebody and this thing will be done how it's supposed to. Hard to say a woman will run it better than men because sometimes the arrogance gets in the way, man. But anyway, that's all I got, man. I said I wasn't gonna go this long, but man, when it gets talking about the Cowboys, man, I don't know what, man. I have to do what I do, man. I have to, But that's all I got, man, from the desk of Uncle Fred. And I forgot to put up my QR code, but there she go right there. I put it up there. It's up there. But anyhow, please like, comment, and subscribe. Become a part of the Uncle Fred Sports Experience. I guarantee you will not be disappointed. But look, Cowboy fans, you just gotta continue to believe. I'm not telling you to throw away your Cowboy stuff. I'm not telling you that. I'm just saying, hang on. But when things ain't how they supposed to be, Uncle Fred gonna shoot you straight. I'm not gonna own you and tell you it's raining. I'm not going to. But that's all I got, man. We'll catch you guys later in free agency. Maybe by that time we'll have us a couple of guys signed by then.